Welcome back, everyone. Before we dive in, make sure you drop your thoughts and the lessons you took from this story in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. Malik loved me like I was his whole world, and he made everyone around us believe it too. The man was a vision of black excellence, always clean-cut, waves spinning under his cap, skin glowing, smile dazzling. He'd open doors for me everywhere, at restaurants, at the church, even at my mama's house in Charlotte. When we first started dating, he left little notes in my work bag. "For my queen," they'd say, along with a chocolate truffle or a gold bracelet. Birthdays, anniversaries, random Tuesdays, it didn't matter. He never missed a moment to make me feel loved. The kind of love that you see in movies, where the couple is always smiling and people stop them on the street to say, "Y'all are goals." That was us. Or so I thought. He was my first love, my first everything, and after 13 years, I truly believed God had handpicked this man for me. Our wedding had been the event of the year. Folks still talked about it. The live jazz band, the tears he cried when I walked down the aisle, how he whispered finally as we said "I do." We'd built a life together, a beautiful brownstone in a tree-lined part of Charlotte, pictures of us everywhere with our families at the beach, on a ski trip in Colorado. When I had a miscarriage 3 years into our marriage, Malik stayed up every night holding me, wiping my tears, making soup. He cried with me. "Whatever happens," he whispered, "I'll love you. Forever." He never raised his voice. Never cursed at me. Never so much as looked at me the wrong way. It wasn't just the grand gestures, either. He'd text me every day around noon, asking how I was. On days when work beat me up, he'd rub my feet and run a bath. We'd binge-watch trash TV together. Sunday mornings, he'd make pancakes while blasting old-school R&B, and he always made sure I got the last slice. My friends envied me. Even my mother said, "Baby, you lucked out. That boy is a treasure." And I believed her. I'd never even checked our bank balances. I trusted him that much. Malik was home. So when I first noticed a $15,000 withdrawal from our joint account, I barely blinked. I was organizing paperwork for a fixer-upper we were considering buying in South Carolina, something I'd always wanted to do. Malik handled most of the financials and investments. "Relax, babe, I got us," he'd say, handing me a mimosa while I scrolled through Zillow. If a bill ever went unpaid, it was because he was fighting with the cable company to lower the price, not because he forgot. That was Malik, always on top of it. But that $15,000 started nagging at me. I told myself not to be suspicious. Malik was probably investing or handling some grown man business. I tried to push it from my mind, but every time I logged into our account to check something, there'd be another big transfer. $6,800 here, $9,200 there, a few for $4,000. The amounts never matched up to our bills or investments. The deposits started getting smaller, but more frequent. Still, I convinced myself there had to be a reasonable explanation. Malik had never lied to me. He was the most trustworthy man I'd ever met. I shrugged it off, made a mental note to ask him about it, but every time I saw him, he'd be doing something sweet, massaging my shoulders, making my favorite dinner, buying me flowers. It felt wrong to question someone who loved me so much. But curiosity is a stubborn itch. One evening, Malik went to Atlanta for a business trip and left his old work laptop behind. He'd always been private about his passwords, but I remembered the code from our wedding date, the one he used for everything back then. On a whim, I tried it. The screen opened up. I found folders labeled with months and years, digital receipts, and spreadsheets. The deeper I went, the worse my stomach turned. There were transfers from our accounts to names I didn't recognize, but one stood out. Tyra W. The name appeared over and over, for thousands of dollars each time. I started shaking. My hands were sweating as I Googled her. Tyra Williams. Instagram pulled up a bright, curated page. 27, Miami-based, a fitness influencer with a surgically sculpted body and a baby-voiced YouTube channel. Every post, Malik was there, lurking in the comments. "King," she wrote under a video of her squatting in pink leggings. He replied, "My forever." I read and reread the comments, each one like a punch to my chest. He had a whole other life. Pictures of gifts he sent her. A Tesla. A fancy apartment in Midtown Atlanta. I felt like my bones were turning to ice. But I didn't cry. Not yet. That night, I cleaned the kitchen, made myself some tea, and forced my body to sleep. When Malik came home, he kissed my forehead and asked how my day was, then cooked me shrimp and grits from scratch. I watched him, my heart breaking, but I smiled and ate every bite. I told myself maybe I'd made a mistake, maybe I was being paranoid, but deep down I knew. He was so normal, so tender. He never snapped, never slipped up. He was still posting us on his Facebook, still buying me gifts, still sending flowers to my job. The man was meticulous. I realized this wasn't some careless affair. He had planned every move. I started paying attention to the little things. How he left his phone face down, how his business trips increased, how he was always tired but never missed an opportunity to show me affection. I acted like everything was fine. I smiled, laughed, and even thanked him for his hard work. Inside, I was dying. Every day was agony. My dreams turned dark, and I woke up with a knot in my chest. I stopped eating much, lost 10 pounds in a month. My friends noticed, but I lied, said I was just working hard. Nobody suspected a thing. Malik was still everyone's favorite husband. They called us the couple who made it. I started digging for real. Quietly, carefully. I took screenshots of every suspicious transaction. I checked our joint credit cards and found more hidden spending. Hotels, dinners, lingerie, travel. I even hired a private investigator, a black woman named Chantel, discreet, sharp as a tack. She found everything. The Airbnbs, the Miami vacations, the wire transfers, the cash deposits to Tyra's fitness company. He was even paying her student loans. Chantel gave me a folder with photos, Malik and Tyra holding hands, eating dinner, shopping. One photo broke me. Malik hugging her, laughing, wearing the same shirt he'd worn on my birthday 2 days before. I stared at that picture until my eyes blurred. Still, I said nothing. I played my part. I let him believe he was fooling me. I had to know the whole story. I waited and watched and learned everything I could. If I confronted him too soon, he'd just gaslight me or cover his tracks. He was too smart for a sloppy ending. Then I found the real betrayal. Malik wasn't just cheating. He was preparing to leave me for her. He'd been moving money, siphoning off savings little by little, sending her cash for business, buying her a car, renting her an apartment. He was trying to empty our accounts and start over with her. But here's what he didn't know. That fixer-upper in South Carolina? I bought it in cash, through a shell company registered in my cousin's name. The $1.2 million from my father's old land sale. He thought it was sitting in our joint account, but I'd invested it all in that house. Malik thought he was draining us, but I'd already moved the real fortune out of his reach. The more I found, the more I realized Malik was a master manipulator. He'd set up fake invoices, used burner phones, even made up fake business deals to justify his absences. But I was one step ahead now. I tracked every move, recorded every conversation about future plans. The pain was like swallowing glass, but I powered through. Months passed. I grew cold, detached. Malik noticed, but he chalked it up to stress. "Let's take a vacation, babe," he'd say. I nodded and let him plan everything. In my mind, I was counting the days until his final move. Then the moment arrived. I saw an email pop up on his laptop. A lease agreement in Tyra's name for a condo in Atlanta. Move-in date, 3 days from now. He was about to leave me, and he didn't even have the decency to tell me. I felt rage like I'd never known. I could have screamed, thrown things, set fire to all his suits. But I didn't. I channeled it into a plan. I wanted him to feel what it was like to be played. To lose everything, the way he'd tried to do to me. I set up a meeting at our bank. "We need to update our beneficiaries," I told him one morning, my voice steady. "Let's just get everything in order. You never know with this world." He grinned, thinking he was about to get one over on me. "Of course, baby," he said, kissing my cheek. "You know I got you." The day of the meeting, Malik dressed to the nines, blue suit, silk tie, gold watch I'd bought him for our 10th anniversary. He even brought flowers for the bank manager. He held my hand as we sat in the glass office, smiling like a man who thought he had it all figured out. The manager, Mrs. Jones, a no-nonsense black woman with a kind face, printed out a stack of forms. I'd set it all up in advance. Malik signed everything without reading, just like he always did. "Anything for you, Ash," he said, winking. I signed too, my hands calm. What Malik didn't know was that the forms he signed gave me full power of attorney over all our joint holdings and confirmed that he no longer had any access to the house or any remaining funds that were in my name. Everything else, our investments, our credit lines, even the joint account, I had already drained and moved to accounts he couldn't touch. He was still smiling, still sweet, still squeezing my hand as Mrs. Jones slid an envelope across the table. Some paperwork for you both, she said, her eyes flickering. Malik opened it, expecting to see routine documents. Instead, inside was a full ledger. Every cent he'd ever moved out of our joint accounts, every transfer to Tyra's fitness business, every cash deposit, every transaction. On top was a printout of Tyra's Instagram. The pictures of her in front of the Tesla, the Thank You King posts, the Airbnb receipts. I watched his face drop, eyes darting from page to page, lips trembling. He looked up at me, speechless for the first time since I'd met him. I leaned in close, just enough for him to hear. You transferred our savings to your little gym rat. But you forgot who the real builder in this marriage was. He tried to stammer out some excuse, but the evidence was all there. Mrs. Jones cleared her throat. Mr. Hawkins, your access has been revoked. All accounts are frozen until the financial review is complete. He blinked, still not fully processing it. I stood up, smoothed my dress, and looked him in the eye. Good luck, Malik. Hope Tyra likes broke men. Then I walked out, heels echoing on the tile, head held higher than it had been in months. That was the last time I saw him in person. 3 weeks later, I saw Tyra post a story on Instagram, sobbing in her car, saying her man ghosted her and took the Tesla back. Apparently, Malik tried to bounce back, but the IRS had flagged all those transfers he'd made to Tyra's business. They launched a full audit on both of them. No criminal charges, but they froze Malik's assets and hit him with a mountain of back taxes, interest, and penalties. The bank closed his remaining accounts. The condo in Atlanta? Foreclosed. The Tesla? Repossessed. Tyra went back to selling waist trainers and detox teas on Instagram, whining about haters and broke men. Malik called a few times, but I blocked his number. He tried reaching out through mutual friends, but I told them I was done. I wanted peace. I started therapy, focused on rebuilding my life, poured myself into my work, and leaned on my family for the first time in years. My mama just hugged me and said, "You're free, baby." That's what matters. The fixer-upper in South Carolina turned out to be a gold mine. The market exploded, and I sold it for $3.1 million. After taxes, fees, and paying Chantel for her work, I walked away with $2 million clean. I didn't buy anything flashy. No new car, no designer bags. I just moved into a beautiful condo by the water, filled it with plants, and filled myself with peace. I am alone. I am smiling. I am free. And Malik, he's just another man who underestimated the wrong woman. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.